I got a load of lime needs transporting, been wetting.
Any day, Smasher.
Mr. Sullivan's come a visiting. Bought us some rum and oranges, Will.
Jamaican, none of that Thomas Blackwood rot got. Call me Smasher, like everyone.
Smasher was telling me how he was transported for having a box that fell off the back of a wagon. Now, he was caught just as he was returning it to its owner.
But no one believes a poor man, do they, Thornhill?
Tim, tell me about your role as Smasher in The Secret River.
Well, Smasher, if we were doing a sort of B-movie text analysis of Secret River, is the baddie, but of course The Secret River is not basic text. It's an incredibly complex story about convict-era Australia and the eventual inexorable clash of the recently pardoned convict pastoralists and the original owners of the land, and Smashers sort of represents the possibility of no integration or consideration whatsoever.
Why did you shoot the bastard? It's no different to shooting a dog.
There's two things at kind of either end of the sort of emotional spectrum as a performer that happened on the same day. I think it was my second day of shooting. So I did 3 hours of makeup, then ended up shooting a full frontal nude scene first thing in the morning, the first time we see Smasher. And then that day ended hours and hours later doing the emotionally most confronting scene in the whole piece. It involved me saying things about an Aboriginal woman which you couldn't imagine. It's sickening. Everyone was pretty strung out, and there was a lot of tears in both sides of the camera. It was full on. Everyone on it was so keen to make it as good as they could, because we believe that the next national conversation we have to have about our relationship with Aboriginal Australia is about pre that time, about our original history and the fact that we didn't just turn up and shake a hand and offer a bit of tea and happily colonise this country, that there was war.
Just give me the spade. Give me the spade.
Yeah.
Will, just give it to him!
Spade.
Easy.
Your mum was no doubt very thrilled with The Secret River, a great story there. But with Californication, she wasn't actually thrilled, was she, when you told her that you had that role of Atticus Fetch?
I rang up my mum. I said, "Mum, I think I've got this role in this American TV show," and she said, "Well, if you want to ruin your family, then that's fine." She just had a sort of immediate fear reaction.
The working classes want to leave a Broadway theatre feeling the way they feel when they leave one of my concerts, happy, uplifted, inspired, preferably a little bit horny.
Yeah, well, that's very funny, because I'm not feeling very horny right now.
For a Perth person, Hollywood just feels like a doorway to a sort of moral decline, because the stories you get are all the nonsense, all the ridiculous media beat-ups about this, that, and then probably the last Perth boy who really made it big in America is Heath Ledger, and she thinks that's a slippery slope to that.
And you're living right in the beating heart in LA now. You've moved there, you're working on the animated film Larrikins.
Yeah.
You've got the hit musical Matilda, the West End, Broadway, coming to Australia, of course. How do you find LA now that you've hit the big time?
LA was about taking the fact that Matilda went well and thinking, well, probably the thing I can really contribute in my lifetime is musical theatre or musical storytelling. So making this animated Australian road movie, singing animal musical, a big DreamWorks, and I get to tell an Australian story, and I get to do it with music, and I get to satirise Australianness as well as celebrate Australianness. This feels like a good, wholesome thing to pursue, rather than just going,
Was your very emotional rendering of White Wine in the Sun that actually got you the gig with the Matilda, or led to the gig?
Yeah, well, that's right. I didn't know this till years after the fact, and it came out in a newspaper interview with Matthew Warchus, the director of Matilda. He had been sent to my show by the Royal Shakespeare Company with a sort of, what about this guy? And he sat through my show, and by the curtain he had sort of thought, oh, he seems like a funny songwriter, but there's too much head, not enough heart, was his analysis. And then just as he was about to grab his coat, I came on and did this encore, which is my Christmas song, which makes everyone cry. So yeah, I got the gig.
Brothers and sisters and me and your mom will be way down for you in the sun when Christmas comes. Your brothers and sisters, your aunts and your uncles, your grandparents, cousins, and me and your mum will be way down for you in the south.